The saying goes, where there's smoke, there's fire. And now we're learning there's also toxic chemicals. In fact, lots of them after wildfires burn away. NBC News correspondent Steve Patterson joins us now from Los Angeles with a closer look. Steve?
Morgan, these climate changes fueling these fires to burn hotter for longer in more urban areas. And because of that, more homes and structures are being torched, which is tragic in its own right. But it's even worse to think about the chemicals that are in those homes, which are now flooding the air and making people sick. We wanted to find out how bad this truly is for our health and how much worse it could get. Here's what we discovered.
Every day, firefighters charge headfirst into danger, but often their greatest fear has little to do with the flames right in front of them. Toxic fumes fueling an invisible threat.
There's a cancer sniper. It's heartbreaking. It is absolutely heartbreaking.
As California wildfires burn larger and increasingly race into neighborhoods, those on the front lines worry their constant exposure puts them at an even greater health risk.
The fires these days are so toxic as opposed to 50 years ago because of all the plastics and petroleum products in them that the gear that we have does let some of that particulate in, and it can get in through our skin.
43-year-old Matt Alba lived through searing headaches after battling the historic Camp Fire in 2018.
It didn't feel right. The smoke was acrid.
Then, earlier this year, he was diagnosed with brain cancer. Doctors can't conclusively say it was linked to his job, but...
The timeline's up. Can I prove it? No. But I have my suspicions.
We were granted rare access inside Stanford's Allergy and Asthma Lab, where researchers are trying to determine what kind of chemicals or metals are absorbed in the human body, testing firefighters for exposure and their gear for leftover toxins.
Does it make you nervous at all?
No. I'd rather know than not know.
Yeah. Are you worried about what they may find?
I wouldn't say worried. Yeah. I'm more curious. There is always that thing in your back of your mind that, hey, you might get cancer one day.
The cancer rates are elevated in several types of cancers for firefighters. Their life expectancy is decreased, and we know it's from the smoke exposure.
And the worry is not just for firefighters. Last fall, an orange haze consumed San Francisco skies for days. Smoke was seen from across the country. Studies show that particles from wildfire smoke are up to 10 times more harmful to respiratory health than from other forms of pollution, with an increase in hospitalizations during major wildfire events.
How worried should the general public be?
The fires could potentially impact all of us. Even with a brief exposure, we could be damaging ourselves.
Here in Southern California, you can still see areas scorched by the Bobcat fire, one of the many places filled with dry fuel, creating a tinderbox and making it much easier for these flames to burn completely out of control.
Now, following months of a dry winter, experts say California is facing another season that could rival what they saw last year. What are your big worries for 2021?
We've seen the outcome of bad fire on this landscape, and we need to turn that around immediately.
Experts say one solution, more fire. So-called prescribed burns or smaller intentional fires are designed to reduce the fuel that otherwise builds up over time and then explodes into an uncontrolled disaster. But on average, California only burns roughly 80,000 acres a year, compared to Florida, which burns over 2 million.
Let's get to the proactive part and put the same effort and the same amount of money in that, or we'll be doing damage repair until the bank goes broke. And we won't have anything that looks like California left for us to enjoy and receive benefits from.
Just last week, California's governor signed an emergency $536 million fire prevention plan that focuses on just that, more prescribed burning. A step many on the front line say is long overdue.
We don't think about the air that we're breathing in. We have to figure this out because the fires aren't going away.
A battle we must fight now to avoid losing later.
Steve, I have to say this report just gave me chills because it harkened me back to the days when you and I were both starting at NBC and I was covering those fires. And when you first cover those fires and feel the air around you, it is such an out-of-body experience, right? I mean, it feels dangerous. So are there any precautions that people living in these fire zones can take, especially when air quality alerts are issued like that?
Well, it is dangerous. And I mean, you can wear those masks. The N95s certainly help, but it doesn't do everything against those particulates. So officials will often say when there's a huge fire event like that to just try to do everything to stay inside. Still, though, a lot of this prevention has to come from the top. It's about preventing the flames before we get to the stage of the choking smoke. So the best thing I heard you can do is to write your congressman. Let lawmakers know that this is impacting all of us, and we have to do something about it before it's too late.
Where there's a will, there's a way. All right, Steve Patterson, thanks.